welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. I'm realizing with a round stage, I only ironed the front of my dress, and I was like, I'm going to sit down on a chair so the back can be all crinkly and stuff. But here we are.
I know.
I bet there's some metaphor or some learning to get from that. Just always plan for people seeing you from a 360 degree. I don't know.
That's true. That's true. Hey, let's start with a short intro about yourself. Your background is so very, very interesting. So who are you, and you know, why should people start inventing?
Inventing. I mean, I was born and raised in Sweden, but I've lived in the States and in China and in Kenya, but in the States for most of my adult life now. So my family pokes a lot of fun at how deteriorating my Swedish is. But I started out, so I'm not an engineer by trade. I studied physics for a year and then I dropped out. And I started learning about engineering because, you know, it didn't really click for me until I was like in my mid-20s, and I realized that if I learn to do all these things, like if I learn how to program, if I learn how to tinker with electronics, I can do all kinds of weird shit with that. And I think that just blew my mind. Like I didn't see myself as somebody who would be interested in technology in that way. And it wasn't until I was like, I can do so many fun and obscure things if I just learn how to use these tools. So I kind of started out building a lot of, as I call them, sorry, this is the technical term, shitty robots. And the first build that I did was a toothbrush helmet. I think we have a video of it, if somebody could pull that up. So this was kind of what kickstarted my career, which I think I might be the only person on the planet who had this as kind of the starting point for me. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Where can I buy that?
You cannot. And it's recommended by 0 out of 10 dentists. But yeah, I kind of started building a lot of different machines like that. And then the internet is a magical place where you can turn things like that into a career, which still, like 7 years in, feels very improbable. And but here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
You know, you make inventing sound and look like so much fun. But, you know, what kind of processes are there behind your inventions? You know, something that's not visible to your fans and social media followers.
So I think a lot of it really starts with identifying a problem. And I think the best problem, and this goes for startups or for product design or for building useless machines, is like finding anything in your life that has a little bit of friction. You wish you could do it differently. And then when I was building shitty robots, it was always like solving that problem in the most ridiculous way I could think of. Mm-hmm. Like the shittiest robot is the one that you try to turn on and it doesn't come on. Yeah. But like that's not going to go well on the internet. So I always try to be like, what's the most ridiculous way I can solve this problem? I made a drone that can cut hair. So I put a pair of automated scissors onto a drone. I think we have a video of that. I like just put any video I could think of in this folder. Ignore the stains on the sheet. Yeah, of unknown source. So that was just like, okay, what's the most ridiculous and unsafe way I can do this as a means of entertainment? And I think in some way it was great because it pushed me to think of problems in ways that I wouldn't otherwise, and it has really trained my brain to like identify these little points of friction and then try to brainstorm different ways of solving it.
I love that. I love that. Well, with opening your new Yet shop, you seem to be moving away or on from this title, Queen of Shitty Robots, which is also fantastic. So at what time did you realize you need to change, not only to invent, but also to reinvent kind of yourself?
Yeah. So I don't know how much you know about like the creator economy and like being a YouTuber. But the interesting thing about it, for one, it's like the business model is increasing your value as a human billboard. It's basically like how much are brands willing to pay to put your logo or their logo on your forehead. And long term, like that's not always the most fun business model to go by. And I was wanting to expand beyond that. But also something that's really interesting is that it's an industry that's so young. And when you're building a business as an influencer, I cannot say that word without getting like a little bit of like a but I am. I mean, on paper, I guess I am an influencer, but I prefer inventor. So when you're building a business as the I word, it's really like a very tall tower, and it can very easily topple over. It's an incredibly brittle business model because, for one, legislation could change. Like, rules around what you're allowed to do in videos and how you're allowed to present products could change. YouTube could change the algorithm, and that could have huge ramifications for me as a creator. And also, if I'm not well enough to be on stage or in front of a camera, like, everything stops. Yeah. And that's a tremendous amount of pressure to have on you as a business leader. So I realized that I really need to diversify my businesses. So in part, it was an entrepreneurial decision, and wanted to find a business that I could combine with making YouTube videos, and I could have those two businesses kind of have a lot of synergy between them. So I wanted to start a product business, and yeah, I had a brain tumor, and that's really like, you're like, if I'm going to be sick like this, I really cannot have everything hinging on me, like being well, but also excited enough to be in front of the camera. So it was a way to take some of the pressure off, but also because it's like, making YouTube videos is really fun, but at some point you run out of narcissism. And you're like, what is going to fuel me if it's not like me wanting to project myself onto other people and show them things I've built? And you're like, I need something else. And what other fun thing to get into than manufacturing? You know, you're like, let's do something easy. Exactly. You know, something that would be like relaxing. That won't keep me up at 3 a.m. Yeah.
Well, what kind of recommendations would you have for businesses or organizations who are perhaps at a crossroads? Perhaps they're thinking that they need to reinvent themselves at the moment.
It's hard because I'm like, and sometimes I feel like, yes, I am a business leader, but I also got to figure everything out on my own and kind of came from this very weird corner of the industry. I think one of the important things is like, you have so much competence in your organization, and allowing people to use that to explore things that they're interested in. So something that we have in our company is we have FUTS Fridays, which basically means that Friday afternoon, I know that there are other tech companies that do this, you kind of can do whatever you want. You can learn a new skill, you can work on anything you want. And I think like anything to keep people motivated and willing to follow their enthusiasm, even though they don't have a clear end goal with it. Because I think one of the problems with organizations, and having worked in some organizations myself, is it's so easy to get shot down or to shoot yourself down because you're like, I'm really curious about this and I feel like I want to follow this idea, but I can't really justify why. So I think anything you can do to let people kind of go and meander and explore in technology, and that's hackathons or giving people some downtime or work time where they can just kind of have fun, I think is really important. Yeah. There's also a brainstorming exercise that I was wondering if y'all wanted to do with me.
What do you think? What do you think?
You down? Okay.
Come on.
This is like, as like somebody who loves useless ideas, because like the thing I like about it is that it forces you to go outside of your comfort zone, and it forces you to think outside of like what you would normally do. And that's where a lot of innovation is. So I want to do a brainstorming exercise called the brick. And if you can take out your phone, or if you have a piece of paper and a notepad, I'm going to have you write down as many use cases as possible for one single brick. So it's really like the more the merrier. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes, just one brick, like the bricks you build houses with. And I want you to write down as many things that you could use it for as possible. You could use it to break windows, right? And yeah, just the more the merrier. Let's see if anyone can get to 20 things. I'm seeing a lot of people not bringing out their phones. Yeah. Like, come on, do it. Like, humor me. Yeah. Just 2 minutes. It's just 2 minutes of your time. And starting now.
All right.
Somebody's already laughing at their own ideas. I'm telling you, it's a good thing. Do it. whatever speed you had in the beginning, try to keep it up.
Mm-hmm. Looks promising. Everybody's hard at work.
Yeah. You're halfway through. You have 1 more minute. If you can get 10 more ideas, I would be very impressed. It's not a competition, but also it is. 20 more seconds. Let's try to get 1 more idea at least. And you're done. Good job. So what I want you to do now is I want you to turn to the person next to you, preferably somebody you don't know, and I want you to read them the last 3 ideas that you wrote down. So share the last 3 ideas with the person sitting next to you. Okay. Okay, everyone. So raise your hand. We don't need a microphone. You can just yell it out. What was your best idea?
Universal sports organ, so we can lift weights with it.
Oh, to lift weights. Yeah, you could throw it at people. No, just throw it. Just to practice throwing. Yeah. Yeah. As long as you don't kick it, I think you'll be fine. Yeah. Okay, you could do it to lift weights. Yeah, that's great. Cheap and cheerful. Anyone else? Got somebody over here?
Keep it as a pet. Keep it as a pet.
Right. Doesn't shed. Yeah, very easy for your kids. If any of your kids are like, oh, I want to get a puppy, you're like, what about this one? Doesn't bark. What was your worst idea? Over here? A hat? Yeah. You say it's a bad idea? I don't know if it is. The Met Gala next year, maybe. I'm just imagining with a little chin strap. And it's like a helmet for only protecting a very specific location of your head. Yeah. Anybody else? Raise your hand. Over here?
A hole filler.
A hole filler? I'm not going to dwell on what type of hole you mean there. Great, hole filler. So what I really like... Sorry. I'm like, don't go there. Filter this joke out. But yet I can't. So what I really like about this brainstorming exercise is that, as you maybe noticed, you very quickly run out of good ideas, and you have to venture into bad idea land. And honestly, there's a surprising amount of good ideas out in bad idea land. Also, I've been doing this brainstorming exercise with people of all ages. I did it with like a group of 12-year-olds, and I remember it's like caught me so off guard. This kid was like, you can use it as a tombstone for your dead pets. And I was like, That's great and also a little bit unnerving. I'm not going to lie, for sure. As long as you also didn't kill the pet with the brick. Yeah.
That's another use case for the brick.
Oh, yeah. No, glad nobody suggested that. I usually get murder weapon, but you are a very peaceful group of people, I guess, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
What a great exercise.
Yeah, thanks for doing it. Thanks for humoring me.
Exactly. Well, I have another question for you. Now, we kind of touched upon, co-creation and collaboration already. But, how important is it for you personally, for your brand, for your business?
To collaborate?
And co-create.
Co-create. Co-creation is, I think, because I collaborate with a lot of people. So in the beginning of my career, I was very set on that I was going to put in every screw. I was going to do it all myself because I was always really worried that people were going to question my competence, and I wanted it to be waterproof. So even if I wanted to collaborate with people, I was like, no, I'm not going to do it because I know some dude somewhere, sorry, always a dude, is going to be like, oh, you're just the puppet and the friend, and you can't actually build stuff. But as I've grown into this role and gotten more comfortable with my own skill set, I've started collaborating with people. But it's not, to be honest, it's co-creation, but it's also me being the creative dictator. Because it's less it's me I want it to be like this, and then other people can help make models of it or figure out the math between the gear ratios, and that's really been fun, and it's kind of made the project, it's enabled me to take on more complex projects, but it's still very much me being a stubborn little child in a supermarket, and I'm no, it has to be this way. So yeah.
Well, you have the vision.
I have the vision, yeah.
Well, what about product development and the design process? What does it look like?
So the funny thing about the product development, I'll show you one. We brought a video of the Everyday Calendar. So this is one of the products that we've made. If we could get that up. Yeah, so it's this calendar that I made because I wanted to start meditating every day. Oh, that was a short one. That was so short. But basically, it was identifying a problem, but instead of making the most ridiculous solution I could to that problem, I wanted to make a more thoughtful thing that I would actually use in my everyday life. So the problem was that I wanted to meditate every day. And I would always, I don't know about you guys, but if I want to start something new, I'll make a grid in a notebook, and I'll be these are all the days, and I'll check the box whenever I did it because I want that track record and I want that satisfaction. But the problem with grids and notebooks is that you can just put it in a drawer somewhere, and it doesn't feel sacred in that way. So I wanted to have that same concept of a calendar that showed a full year, but I could hang it on my wall, and if I tapped a day, it would light it up. So the process in some ways is really similar because it's all about identifying a problem and then trying to actually make a thoughtful solution. Or for example, I think there's a screwdriver ring video. I was I always want a screwdriver on me because you never know when you're going to need it. And I was oh, we could make a ring. So it still has a lot of the same. For me, it doesn't feel that different from when I was doing things like the breakfast machine that I also think we have a video of. Just because we have it, it's a good one. So this is oh, I don't want to have to make myself breakfast, but I'm just doing it in the most stupid way I could.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think if you ever want to work on your poker face, build shitty robots and try not to laugh for yourself when you're sitting there and it's throwing milk. Also, the thing about this, I filmed this I was living in San Francisco at the time, and what you don't think about is that if you throw cereal and milk all over your floors, they're going to be sticky for weeks. There were Cheerios residue on my floor for weeks because I did that, and now I've learned to put out tarp, which is very good. Yeah.
It's a win-win. Have you ever thought about building new products with cybersecurity in mind?
No. Sorry, I have not. I don't think I would be qualified. And also, it's, I've kind of just stayed away from IoT in general because it's scary. It's a tremendous responsibility. It's also a type of business that requires you to have a lot of investment up front because you don't want to build a wonky security infrastructure and then grow and not be able to rebuild the fundament or foundation of it. But and also it's I remember when I did the Everyday Calendar and the marketing around it, because a lot of people expected it to be Bluetooth, Wi-Fi connected, and there's an app. And I was like, no, we're just going to make it a part of the marketing that it's 0% internet connected. And I think honestly, we're seeing a new generation of products where it's instead of it being smart, it's we need, what's the fancy way of saying that it's stupid or that it's not internet connected and doesn't require that? Because I'm I want less of my stuff to be talking to each other on the cloud. And light switches that are just on the wall and you can turn it off and you don't need your smartphone. It's pretty nice. Very practical, actually. Yeah.
That's true. Almost retro.
Yeah.
But I think here's a good chance to open up the interview for questions from all of you. So here's your chance. Just raise your hand and we'll get a microphone over to you. And here's your chance to ask or comment.
This is the tricky one where nobody's going to have a question and we're just going to stand here.
Don't worry, I have plenty, but we have a hand here already.
Oh, no, there's somebody. Oh, hi.
Hi, Simone. I wondered, have you ever been inspired by a cartoonist called Heath Robinson and the cartoon contraptions he made? If you haven't heard of him, look him up. He'll inspire you.
I have not, no, but I will definitely look him up now. Yeah. Thank you. I was going to say Mr. Holefiller, because he's the one who suggested that, but that is a very bad way of referring to you, so I will not do that. Yeah. Oh, there's another one.
Hello.
Hi.
I have a two-part question about Truckla.
Yeah?
Firstly, is it still running?
Yes. She's my daily driver.
Nice. Second one, it's been 3 years, and Tesla Cybertruck is still not out. Do you think there's a lesson for us in that?
Okay, so backstory. I converted a Tesla Model 3 into a pickup truck. And no, I don't think there's a story to that because I wouldn't recommend anyone to do that because it was a lot of work. We have a video of this fake truck commercial that I did for that when I finished it, if you want to watch it.
Let's see it.
It's here. The truck the world didn't know it was waiting for. It's the dawn of a new beginning. Some trucks rely on roads already paved. Some choose to pave their own. Push past convention. Empower yourself beyond what's possible. And if the thing you want doesn't exist yet, you step up and make your own. Don't just leave a footprint when you can leave your mark. The power is in your hands to take charge. Engineered to embrace every turn, while safely guarding what matters most. You choose where the road leads. The new 2019 Truckla. Available nowhere.
That was amazing.
Just as a reference.
That was very impressive.
Thank you.
How many of us wants to buy a new car now? Well done. Do we have another hand?
I can also just ask myself questions. Wow, Simone, how are you so cool? I don't know.
I was gonna
Just
ask,
effortless. Yeah.
what's your biggest source of inspiration? Or perhaps you have many, so any that you want to mention.
Boredom? to be honest. Like, if I run out of ideas, it either means that I've set the bar too high and I'm like really burdening myself with it having to be good. Like, I never want to set out being like, I'm going to build something great, because then I'm never going to get to it. But then also often it's just, if I run out of ideas, it means that I've packed my schedule too tight. And if I just have a weekend at home to loiter, I will find ways of entertaining myself. And that is often just like, ooh, this corner could use something. So yeah, honestly, boredom is probably my main source of inspiration.
Is there something that you're currently working on that you
Which means that this conversation would have been very inspiring for you if you were bored. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No worries.
Yeah.
No worries. Is there anything that you're currently working on that you can or would like to?
Oh gosh, yeah. I still have it. I've put it together. I'm making a music instrument that pops bubble wrap, and I can't decide if I should call the genre bubble wrap or bubble pop. But basically, it's like, you know, those little like music boxes that has a little wheel and there's like a barrel with spikes on it. So imagine that, but it's bigger, and the spikes pop bubbles, and then the pops resonate in different length tubes, and it actually plays different tones, which is an incredibly complex engineering process to go through. And I spent genuinely a week trying to find the optimal way of popping bubbles and bubble wrap, which is just, what a dream to be able to have that be a part of my job. And it's like a very like, oh, I'm so fortunate, but also, wow, how am I going to pull this off? But we're getting there. So that's what when I go back home tomorrow to LA, that's what I'm going to dive headfirst into. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Can you tell us a little bit more about Yetch?
Yeah, so that's the brand that I started making. So my name, as you can see on these pillars, is spelled Giertz, but inexplicably it's pronounced Yetch, because I think my ancestors were just trolls. So I named the product business YETCH, so Yetch.store. And the mantra of the brand is unique solutions to everyday problems. And basically, what's so great about it is that I can turn my YouTube channel into an R&D department. So I can still be building things for YouTube, and I can post it on the internet, and it'll be like early audience testing. And then if there's something that I think has potential as a product, I can pass it over to the product business. We can manufacture it, and then once it's ready to be sold, I can pass it back over to the YouTube channel to work as marketing. So I'm kind of balancing the two businesses. But yeah, we've just launched like a month ago, which was a really big moment for me. And we launched with a very small roster of products, but we have a lot of more stuff in the pipeline. Some of the stuff that I've made into YouTube videos before.
Sounds good. Sounds good. You know, you've shown us some very, very inspiring and also funny inventions, but is there something that you're most proud of? Do you have a favorite
Truckla
invention?
is one of them, but then I think we have a video of the, should I choose the companion chair or the puzzle table?
I think we want to see
Let's do the
both.
companion chair. So I built the chair for my dog, if we could have a video of that.
Built a chair that's made both for humans and for pets. It has an extra broad seat and a built-in staircase, so your cat or small dog can lay next to you whenever they want to. I call it the companion chair, and I built it because I have a very needy dog that refuses to fall asleep if she's not next to me. I hope you like it.
Oh, I miss her so much.
We liked it, didn't we? That was really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Any other ones that you want to highlight?
I mean, we have the puzzle table as well, which is a very similar video. Just if we have time. I don't know how.
With a hidden second tabletop, so you can switch between two separate table surfaces. It's fully mechanical and runs using bike chains and sprockets, so you just turn the hand crank to roll back the top surface, lift up the second one, and you're done. I built this table because I love working on jigsaw puzzles, but I don't love the amount of table space they take up. I hope you like it.
So it's stuff like that. It's just everyday problems. It's like, I don't know if any of you work on jigsaw puzzles and you're like, it takes up so much table space. And, you know, you can spend a month and thousands of dollars in engineering costs and build yourself a custom table, you know? It's great.
That's true. And inspiring. You have a problem and then you have a solution.
Yeah.
So as we're running out of time, thank you so much, Simone. It's been a pleasure. any final words that you'd like to leave with our audience?
I don't know. Spay and neuter your pets. No. If you have a brick pet, you don't need to do that. No, thank you so much. And yeah, go and build some useless things because who knows where it will bring you. Yeah.
Sounds good. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you.